the entire peloton has crashed. I don't know what happened.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 10 of the worst crashes in Tour de France history.
Well, we're looking down there, Paul.
For this list, we're looking at the scariest and most historically significant crashes, falls, and collisions at the premier annual cycling competition, the Tour de France. Which crash did you find the scariest? Let us know below. Wim van Est. In 1951, Wim van Est was having a terrific debut in the Tour de France. After all, he was wearing the yellow jersey, the first Netherlands national to do so, as he led the general classification. But as the Dutchman descended the Col d'Aubisque mountain path, a combination of inexperience, loose stones, and wet snow caused him to fall into a 1,000-foot-deep ravine. Cyclist Roger de Koch saw the drama and called for help. Luckily, Van Est managed to stop his rapid decline around 200 feet down. People tied together around 40 tubular tires to bring him back up, and somehow, the Dutch cyclist had no serious injuries. The Big Peloton crash.
As we see that, there's a crash as well, as we rejoin the action now.
At stage 3 of 2015's edition of the race, near Côte de Boisseau, William Bonnet's bike touched the one in front of him, causing him to spill to the ground. This gave those trailing behind no chance to avoid the collision as a massive pileup happened. Altogether, 20 cyclists were knocked from their bicycles.
The white jersey, Tom Dumoulin, they're saying, has gone down as well, and he's a rider who was in third place in the overall standings.
A number of competitors sustained injuries, and as a result, had to withdraw from the competition, including Bonnet with a fractured cervical vertebra in his neck, Fabian Cancellara with 2 fractured vertebrae in his spine, and Dmitry Kuzenchik with a broken shoulder blade and a snapped collarbone. Jens Vogt.
Perhaps there was a crash. It looks like it. Yeah, there's a rider down. Oh, boy.
At the Col du Petit Saint-Bernard in July 2009. During stage 16, German cyclist Jens Vogt hit a small bump in the road and took his grip off the handlebars. He fell to the ground heavily, skidded several feet, and was nearly run over by a photographer's motorbike.
That looked like a horrible crash to the man from the Saxo Bank squad.
Images of an unconscious Vogt on the road were burned into the audience's mind. He was spotted by medics and airlifted to the hospital shortly afterwards. On top of various cuts across his body, Vogt had sustained a concussion and a broken cheekbone. Amazingly, by September, he was back competing at the Tour of Missouri.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect, but definitely feels good, and I have to say it feels really good to get all the support from American fans.
Djamolidine Abdoujaparov. As a 3-time winner of the Tour de France's points classification, Uzbekistan national Djamolidine Abdoujaparov was known for his intense sprints.
Abdou had the most homicidal sprinting style in Tour history. Elbows out, weaving from side to side. The mystery was how he could put so much energy into lateral motion and still win.
And that occasionally worked against him as he was prone to crashing, such as in 1991 during the final Champs-Élysées stage. As Abdoujaparov raced the remaining 100 meters to secure the green jersey, he got too close to the barricades.
He's gone! Abdoujaparov is gone and taken out. Sean has gone down with him.
He flipped rapidly and struck the ground with great force. It was a frightening scene. Thankfully, the Tashkent Terror got back on his feet and, with help from his teammates, crossed the finish line. Joseba Beloki.
Oh, and Beloki's near. Beloki's gone down. Armstrong's off the road as well. Armstrong complete control there. He's into the field, but what a great bike rider. He's gone across. This is unbelievable. I've never seen this before.
While in second place during the 9th stage of the race in 2003, a hard turn on soft tarmac caused Spanish rider Joseba Beloki to lose control and fall into a heap. The fallen cyclist suffered several serious injuries, including a broken wrist and elbow and 2 fractures in his thigh bone.
He's down, he is hurt.
Beloki never fully recovered from the catastrophe, yet he did attempt to come back. However, it was to no avail due to those same injuries he sustained during the crash. Even years later, Beloki still feels pain and limps from the damage as a result of what took place during the race. Johnny Hoogerland.
A little bit of chaos. Just having a quick look
in
here.
fact, there's been a crash here. Oh, goodness me, that hit the side of the car.
Gee.
During stage 9 of the race back in 2011, Juan Antonio Flecha was hit by a media car, which caused him to lose control of his bike and collide with Johnny Hoogerland, who flipped off his bike and landed on top of a barbed wire fence. Unsurprisingly, the Dutch cyclist received many lacerations from the sharp metal and required 33 stitches to close the damage. Meanwhile, Flecha injured his elbow. Amazingly, Hoogerland still finished the stage. In 2014, he received an insurance payout for the catastrophe. Spectator causes pileup.
Oh, a huge crash. at the side of the road. I don't know what happened there, but everyone has come down.
During the 2021 Tour de France, the Peloton was approaching the last 28 miles on stage 1 in Brittany. Noticing the TV cameras, a spectator decided to pose with a cardboard sign saying "Allez au Pileup," a greeting to her grandparents. However, her reckless actions caused Tony Martin to collide with her, sparking a massive pileup.
Fan at the side of the road, trying to hold a sign out for the camera, got absolutely thumped. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. And I said a few moments ago, well done to the fans who have looked after the riders today.
Several cyclists suffered injuries, and some were even forced to withdraw from the competition, including Marc Soler, who broke his arms. After the massive outcry, the woman handed herself in to the police. She was later fined around $1,350 and paid France's Professional Cyclist Association, the National Union of Professional Cyclists, or UNCP, a symbolic €1.
Well, the stupidity of a fan at the side of the road. Look at this. Tony Martin comes through, is not even facing the peloton, which you should never, ever do.
Wilfred Nellison.
Nellison is taking... Oh, and they've gone! They've gone one after the other. They've hit the barriers. Nellison was not looking where he was going. That was a disaster on the line there.
In 1994, Belgian rider Wilfred Nellison was racing through Armentières during stage 1 of the Tour de France. However, one police officer wanted a souvenir. Completely oblivious, he stood there taking a photo while Nellison looked down. As a result, the Belgian slammed into the officer at great speed and flipped in the air, taking down several other riders in the process.
This is Nellison putting his head down now. There's the policeman looking at the situation as the riders go straight at him and they collide with the policeman.
Nellison injured his knees, but it was Frenchman Laurent Jalabert who took the most damage from the crash, having shattered part of his teeth and fractured his cheekbone.
Well, there is the policeman who was in collision there with Nellison head on as he looked at the riders approaching him.
Mark Cavendish. It's not every crash in the Tour de France that causes a debate on who was responsible, but that is what happened in 2017. During the sprint finish at Vittel in stage 4, Mark Cavendish tried to pass Peter Sagan as the gap against the barricade closed. Instead, it appeared as though the Slovak elbowed the Brit, causing him to fall and suffer a fractured shoulder blade, resulting in his withdrawal from the competition. The organizers blamed Sagan and disqualified him from the rest of the tour. This wasn't the first time Cavendish had been badly injured on the tour. In 2014, during Stage 1's final sprint finish in Harrogate, England, he bumped into fellow cyclist Simon Gerrans and dislocated his shoulder. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Fabio Casartelli.
Fabio Casartelli took his place on a podium that knows no first or second.
In 1992, Italian cyclist Fabio Casartelli took a gold medal in the men's individual road race at the Olympics. By 1995, at only 24 years of age, he participated in the Tour de France. And sadly, it all went very wrong. During stage 15, Casartelli descended the Col de Porte d'Aspet mountain path at around 60 miles per hour. Alongside other cyclists, when he reached a sharp turn, he slipped. However, Casartelli's head struck a concrete block, causing severe injuries and knocking him out cold. While he was quickly attended to by medics and put onto a helicopter to go to the hospital, Casartelli passed away during the trip.
He suffered massive head and facial injuries and immediately slipped into a coma. He would die 30 minutes later.
A memorial sundial was created for Casartelli and is placed near where he fell.
I think he is helping us. Lots of people tell me, I have prayed to Fabio. I've asked him for this and that. And considering how he was, I think if he could, he would help us from wherever he is.